It's surprisingly easy to get an app up and running on your own laptop. But taking that very same app and getting it ready for the real world, for thousands, maybe millions of users, yeah, that is a whole different ballgame. And that's because there's this huge kind of hidden gap between the two.
So that's the big mystery we're going to dig into. It's kind of like the difference between building a model rocket in your backyard and actually launching a real one into orbit. What is it that transforms this simple local setup into this much more complex, professional system?
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll kick things off with that deceptively simple start. Then we'll take the leap into what makes production so complex, and we'll unpack the three key players that make it so different: the database, the servers, and the manager that keeps the whole thing online.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. We're going to look at a piece of open source software called Mezzanine. It's built with Python and Django, and honestly, getting it to run locally is almost ridiculously easy.
Basically, you set up a little sandbox for your project, install the software with just one command, create the project, and then you just type the magic words, run server. And that's pretty much it. Seriously, no complex setup, no extra stuff to install.
And boom, just like that, you pop open your web browser, and there it is, a full-blown website running right there on your machine. The whole thing takes, what, a few minutes? It totally feels like magic. But here's the thing. That's the illusion of the development environment.
All right, now let's make the leap. We're taking that exact same app, but this time we're getting it ready for the real world, for actual users. And this, my friends, is where the story takes a pretty dramatic turn.
So you remember those few little commands we just ran? Well, the official script to deploy this exact same application into production is, get this, nearly 700 lines long. So we've gone from a handful of commands to this massive script. The obvious question is, why?
And really, this image right here tells the whole story. On the left, you've got our super simple development setup, just one process, one little database file. But then you look at the right, the production setup, and suddenly there are all these specialized servers, a way more powerful database. Let's break down exactly what all this new stuff is.
Okay, first up, the database. See, in development, everything's nice and simple, all in one place. But that simplicity, it comes with a price you just can't pay when you're live on the internet.
While we're developing, the app uses something called SQLite. The easiest way to think about it is like a database that lives inside a single file. Super simple. It's perfect for one user, you. But in production, you need a powerhouse, like Postgres. It's a real server-based database, and it's built from the ground up to handle thousands of people hitting it at the same time without even breaking a sweat.
And yeah, switching to a pro-level database like this adds a ton of new steps. You've got to install the software, you have to make sure it's always running, you've got to create the database itself, create a special user just for your app to use, and then set it all up to connect securely. And yep, every single one of those steps adds more lines to our 700-line script.
All right, next up, the servers. Remember that simple little run server command? It's great for developing for sure, but in the real world, it's basically a toy. So in production, we swap it out for a powerful duo, a team of 2 specialized servers.
And look, don't just take my word for it. The people who actually make the Django framework are super clear about this. They literally say, don't use this server in anything resembling a production environment. Their job is to make amazing web frameworks, not industrial-strength web servers. So what do? We bring in the specialists.
So let's meet our new team. First up is Unicorn. This is our application server. Its only job in life is to run our Python code and build the web pages when someone asks for them. But it's not a solo act. Its partner is Nginx. Nginx is the web server, and it's a specialist at handling all the incoming traffic and dishing out static files, images, CSS, at lightning speed.
The way these two work together is a really cool concept called a reverse proxy. Basically, you can think of Nginx as the bouncer at the front door. It checks every single request that comes in and directs the traffic to the right place.
And this is how that division of labor works. Somebody asks for an image or a logo, Nginx is like, I got this, and just grabs the file itself. Super, super fast. But if the request is for an actual web page that needs our Python code to do some thinking, Nginx just passes it straight over to Unicorn. This whole setup is way faster and a whole lot more secure. Okay, so we've got our heavy-duty database, we've got our specialized server dream team, but there is one final, absolutely critical problem we have to solve. What happens if the whole server restarts, or even if you just, close your laptop?
See, when you're developing, the app is running right there in your terminal. It's in the foreground. If you close that window, poof, the website is gone.
Obviously, for a real website that needs to be up 24/7, that's just not going to work. The app has to run as a background service, or daemon, which is just a fancy word for a process that runs all the time, completely on its own.
And that's where the final piece of our puzzle comes in. It's a tool called a process manager, something like Supervisor. Supervisor has one and only one job: to watch our Junicorn server like a hawk. If that server ever crashes, for any reason at all, Supervisor's job is to instantly and automatically restart it. It's basically the ultimate babysitter, making sure our app is always on.
And so, here it all is, the whole system working together. A user's request flies in from the internet and hits Nginx, our traffic cop. Nginx decides, is this a simple file I can handle? Or does it need to go to our application workhorse, Junicorn? Junicorn then runs our code, talks to our powerful Postgres database to grab whatever data it needs, and then it sends the finished page all the way back. And the whole time our manager, Supervisor, is just watching, making sure Junicorn never quits.
So that 700-line script, it's not just complicated for the sake of being complicated. Every single piece we've added, the pro database, the specialized servers, the process manager, it's all there to solve a very specific real-world problem. And altogether, they create that fast, secure, and just plain reliable experience that we all expect when we go to a website.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? That simple act of just visiting a web page kicks off this incredible, super coordinated dance between all these different systems. It kind of leaves you wondering what other simple things in our daily lives are hiding this much complexity right under the hood. Maybe the next time you open your browser, you'll see it all just a little bit differently.